computer.
Mm.
Okay, awesome. So this is a podcast that we're doing every Thursday. So it's called Elevate Your Leadership. And we're going to we have the podcast channel, elevatepodcast.com. We also have this, again, streaming live on YouTube, in Zoom. If you want to come to this weekly, we do this every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. So you just go to elevatezoom.com. And what's the password for that, Cheryl?
Elevate.
Elevate. We made it super simple. So,
don't try and stop me. I see what you're doing.
We are so excited to be with you here today. We have a great topic, Cheryl. It's called consistency.
Wow.
I
can't think of a more exciting word.
I know you can't. I know Cheryl, as soon as she heard the word, she told me, I'm like, oh, let's talk about the podcast today. And you're like, well, it's kind of boring.
Hey, that's what John said, not me.
We said that you were you're very good at being consistent with variety.
That's right. I am very good.
So you are consistent. Yeah,
that's right.
Now, what does the law of consistency say, Cheryl? What is the tagline to it here?
The law of consistency tagline, which I love, is motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing.
Nice.
I love that.
Yeah, it's all about growing.
And we've talked about that before, haven't we, Paul, about how, just like pushing through and it's really hard. And that's kind of what motivation reminds me of. You can get motivated about something, but then it only lasts for so long. And it made me think about like when I go to an event and I'm super motivated and I'm super excited. And Monday morning, I'm like, I think I just need to sleep in a little bit. That was such a long weekend. And, and so I think that, that's a great way to look at it, right? That we need to be consistent no matter what.
Yeah, 100%. So there's, what's the number one leadership challenge that people face?
Oh, this one is a little hard, but it is.
That's why I'm asking you the question.
Well, I appreciate that, but it will always be to lead ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. It will always be, because I love the whole idea of, hey, listen, I can tell y'all what to do. That is not hard. I can definitely do that. But for me to lead myself and do those same exact things, yeah, it's like a whole new ballgame. It's like, it's just, and that's kind of what we talked about last week too, is the law of the mirror, right? The whatever you do, people will do, right? What they see you do. So
yeah, so this is everything. Everybody, the struggle's real. I mean, everyone has the same issue. It's always going to be leading yourself. That's going to be your toughest battle in life. Right. What are the 3 keys, Cheryl, to leading yourself?
Well, let me tell you, the first one is be intentional. Right. And I love that one, because
what would be your definition of intentional, Cheryl, if we just had to spitball one out there?
Let's see. I would say that to be intentional to me means that you need to know where you're going and how you're going to get there before you even start, right? So if you have no idea where you're going, then you cannot be intentional, because where are you going? Oh, I don't know. Just hanging out, doing whatever I want. That's not the way to be successful, I guess.
Yeah. Intentional is always like having a list with some check boxes and checking those things off. I mean, that is knowing what you're going to do and then actually doing it would be a great definition for being intentional. And Cheryl, so let's say I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to make X amount of calls a day. I'm going to do X amount of health evaluations or whatever we do in our professions here. What would be the second key to leading yourself?
That would be to exceed expectations.
Oh, and maybe like do one more.
Yeah, I love that. And you know what? And in every area of your life, Paul, I really I love that. I love that we've talked about it before. And I really feel like that is super important. So you set your goal for yourself and do just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Whatever that goal
What
is.
what a trait to be known for. You know,
Yeah.
you're the person that does a little more all the time. Because
Yeah.
we know in the world today, people are just doing enough to get by if they're doing that much now. So to be known as the person that does a little more, that will separate you like nothing else will. And then, of course, all of our listeners would be able to fill in the third one themselves because it is the topic of the day.
Yes. And that would be to be and stay consistent.
Yeah. Yep. So that's it. So that is the 3 steps to leading yourself. And the most important one out of the 3, well, they're all important, but you got to be consistent. That's where people lose the game. All paths to success have consistency in them. So is there more than one way to become successful in life? Absolutely. But every single path to success has consistency in it. So I love that, Cheryl. It is the common denominator. No matter what you do in life, you got to be consistent at it.
Absolutely.
And what's the number one cause of lack of success, Cheryl?
Well, let me tell you, that would be exactly what we're talking about, Paul. The lack of consistency.
Yeah. And you know, John talks about in this chapter, and this again is in the 15 laws of growth. So this is law number 4 or 5, lost count. But this law of consistency, John, in this law of consistency, John talks about that a lot of people, most people actually, are just bow and paper. And what does that mean? So we're all getting ready for Christmas here. It's coming up. You know, a lot of people just make things look good. They got no substance to it. They're only surface deep. This morning, I did a speech on the Daily Dose call about depth, working deep. And Cheryl, I know you just read this book too. Deep Work. Yeah. What a great book, you know, and it talks about in that book how so many people live these shallow lives these days. They're not going in deep. And, you know, Cheryl and I were talking about Cheryl's getting amazingly great at tennis, which I'm scared to death of next week and playing against you because is not going to be a good sight. But how did you get so good at it? Well, first of all, you were massively consistent recently, doing it every single day. And you went deep. You know, when you're on the court, you don't have a cell phone. You don't have your computer with you. You have nothing. You have you and the racket and the ball. So that's the key to being super successful.
Yeah. And I love that, Paul. And I really like how you explained that to me, because when I first heard the name of the book, Deep Work, I was like, oh, because I thought of it as like, you know, being holed up somewhere where you can't move and you've got to just focus 1000% on this thing and never leave it and never move. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I could do that. But then when you explain, well, it's just, you know, doing something or setting that goal and then of becoming better or whatever it is, you know, building your business or in any area of your life. And then it was just all about that you're going to focus on that, but in a way, meaning, you know, no cell phone, you know, your kids can't be, you know, hanging around. You know, you can't be focused on more than one thing, I guess. And that's what really made a huge difference for me in the understanding of it.
Yeah. So what you're saying, Cheryl, is that you don't multitask during tennis.
No, I don't even see how you could do that. Although I must say, Paul, that in every other area of my life, I am quite a multitasker.
I know. I'm just saying, I've seen you excel massively in tennis recently. Right. And we're trying to examine and dig a little bit and understand why. And what I see in your tennis game is a lot of depth, a lot of focus, and a lot of consistency.
Yes.
Interesting.
It really is.
It really is. Yeah. So we got 3 big points on consistency here. So what's point number 1, Cheryl?
Point number one, consistency establishes your reputation. And I find that so fascinating. It's like, it's that you have done something so well for so long.
Yeah.
That's what that means, right?
Yeah.
Your reputation is such that people know that they know, first of all, what you do, they know you'll show up and do it, and they can really count on you, I think is a big part of it.
Absolutely. And Cheryl, I know we got together about 5 years ago, and I had called Cheryl. We had met before, years before. So I had her phone number, but I called her again about 5 years ago and said, I don't know what you're doing right now. We met like 5 years ago, but pack your bags because we're going on tour. And Cheryl was like, what? So,
Who is
kind of
this?
crazy. Yeah. Who is this? And so we weren't that good. I mean, actually a lot of people said we're horrible and we didn't know what we're talking about, or we're not that good, whatever they were saying. But every single time we've done it since then, and we got to figure out, it's been we've done well over 1,000 speeches now together.
Yeah. Just to be clear, Paul, I never thought we were bad. I thought
I thought we rocked from day one. So I don't know what these other people were thinking, but
I don't know.
We have gotten better over time, though. I mean, we've taken perfect to a new level.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
So consistency is everything. I mean, John talks about 12,000 speeches. I mean, that's a lifetime right there, so thank God we're still 28, Cheryl, and we have plenty of time to hit that 12,000 mark.
Listen, all the time in the world. All the time in the world.
I got all day.
Yeah.
So good. So anyone can be good once, Cheryl.
Oh my gosh. And I love that John mentioned the singer or singers who have like one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
Right. And that's it. They just sing one song and that's it. And I love that whole idea that we don't want to aspire to that. You don't want to be just good for one day, right?
Yeah.
We want to be good over the long haul, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Over a lifetime. Because, and I really believe that, because you can always help someone, today. And I always think about this, oh my gosh, I've helped like someone, every day this week, but it can't just be one person, one day. It has to be continual. And I think that's where you make the biggest difference.
Yeah. John mentions that no one gets in the Hall of Fame because they had a great weekend. I mean, it's a career, it's a whole life of work that goes into getting into Hall of Fame, which Cheryl, I know you are in the Hall of Fame. So what it takes. Yeah, you and Drew Pearson. Yeah, with the gold jackets.
Oh my gosh, that's so great that he made it in. It's so fantastic.
Yeah, so great. So then John went on to talk about when he goes on stage, and I know, Cheryl, you and I feel the same exact way. Like everyone wants us to give us our bio, so they can go on for 30 minutes about how great we are. And honestly, we both hate that, and John hates it too. It's, hi, I'm John. Hi, I'm Paul. Hi, I'm Cheryl. I mean, that's all we need, because your reputation should speak about your introduction. John doesn't need to be introduced.
I love that John says, hi, I'm John and I'm your friend. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that he says that.
I've seen Tony speak many, many times, Tony Robbins, and nobody comes on before him and introduces him. There's no need to. So you got to that's the level you want to get to. It's not about being introduced and all the great things you've done, because that's all about yesterday. And I love when he was talking about how many people live in yesterday. Well, I was a massive success, The key word was, it's not impressive. It's what did you do today? What do you got going on now? So he also mentioned, as we kind of touched on already, that no one is good the first time. But the thing I really loved about this chapter was John was asked, why does every golf tournament last 4 days?
Yeah. That's
You
a
know?
good one.
Yeah, it really is. And what, and there's really an emotional answer that he gave. And he said, because on day one, anyone can win. And that's so true. All the pretenders out there, and there's a lot of guys, and I do follow golf a little bit. And I know that on Thursdays, there's always a guy I never heard of leading the whole thing. I'm like, wow, that's unusual. But is he ever there on Sunday? No. Nope. Because it takes 4 days of playing good. Not 1 day of playing good, 4 days. So anybody on Thursday could play out of their mind, have a great round, but you got to do that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and it just doesn't happen. Only the best of the best win over time, and it's all because of consistency. He also states that consistency reinforces your vision and your values. So people continue to do what people continue to see.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all going back to the law of leadership, going back to the law number 3, which you did last week, which was the law of the mirror. And people do what people see. So that all ties in. And I love this line, Cheryl, if you are persistent, you will get it. But if you are consistent, you will keep it.
I know.
Super great.
Persistent and consistent. They mean two totally different things, right? But it's always been, I mean, I'm just speaking from my own life. I've always been super persistent, right? Like if I want something, I will go after it and I will not stop until I get it. And so, but the interesting thing to me that I was just thinking about is then you have it, right? So you have it, but then you have to set new goals. So throughout your lifetime, throughout your career, you'll set like different goals and new goals and, and continue on, because you cannot just, and it's what you just said, Paul, you cannot just stop after you've reached some of the goals that you've set for yourself, because you have to continue on to get to where you want to be, right? So being persistent is super important, but being consistent, you will keep what you have, right?
That's
and so
even more important.
I thought that was so fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. But then someone told John that, boy, John, that seems exhausting. I really exhausted that area.
Yeah. I love that. And John says, well, you're exhausting me. He told John that he exhausted that area of leadership. And he's like, oh, well, you know, what are you talking about? Right. Yeah. So I love that. And I also love, Paul, that it's the consistency compounds, right?
Yeah.
And we know we've talked before about the importance of compounding, like the compounding penny over 1 month. That is unbelievable, right? So
that's the beautiful part of it, really, is when you do get consistent, you see things start to compound. And it's a beautiful thing. I mean, and I talked a little bit.
No, go ahead.
I talked a little bit this morning about, really the law of attraction, where, and it's goes even deeper into it, where if you start moving forward in something and stay consistent in it, magical things start appearing in your life to help you out with whatever mission you're on. So if you're going after a goal or a result that you want, once you start heading in that direction and start being consistent on your actions, it's like the universe starts responding and throwing stuff at you to help you get there, that you're like, well, how did that happen? And it's all good stuff. So I love that, once you head in that direction, that law kicks in.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting because I just thought of something when we were talking about this whole consistency compounds and why people they're like, consistency, that's boring, that's whatever. Well, guess what? It's because you do not get something for being consistent for 1 or 2 days, right? And so it's over a longer period of time, which I want you guys to remember that, because it's not just for today or tomorrow or the weekend or even 1 or 2 or 3 weeks. So it takes a while. Like Paul, you said 5 years, right? 5 years we have been doing things. And before that, you were being consistent in what you were doing. And I was being very consistent in what I was doing. And so then all of that is compounding now, right? So after years and years and years of continuing to be consistent and showing up.
Right. But we're overnight success, Cheryl.
Gosh, that really sounds
50
good
years
to me.
combined
I like
of
that right
effort,
now.
but
Come on, right
overnight
now.
success. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, but that's just is not true. I mean, we've been doing this for 25 years. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yep. So, of course, John, we taught a class just prior to this on the power of 5, which is honestly, Cheryl, was kind of weak. I mean, of course, because Cheryl and I are who we are and we're Elevate, of course, we have the power of 8. So, John can do the power of 5, but we're doing the power of 8. Okay. So, so here with Holistic Health Coaches, we have 8 things that we do every single day. And I know, Cheryl, in tennis, there's 7 swings. That's it. 7 swings. You can't swing a racket any different. Just 7 different ways to swing it and 7 different kinds of shots you can do. So once you know that if you just master these 7 things, you could beat anyone in the world technically. And so it's true with every industry, whatever industry you're in right now, there's 5, 6, 7, 8 things that are key. And you got to get really good at that. Like basketball, you've got to dribble, you have to pass, and you have to shoot. That's it. There's only 3 things you can do in basketball. So people make it out to be a complex thing, but it's not. And the best players in the world dribble real well, they pass really well, and they shoot really well. But because they do it 10,000 times a day. So you just got to know what those things are in your life. What do I need to do day in and day out to be successful? And it goes for every area of your life. So let's take losing weight. What are some things that you have to do every single day to lose weight? Well, it would certainly help if you didn't eat a lot. If you backed away from the buffet and stuck to a reduced calorie diet. If you lowered your carbs, if you drank the water, if you took the supplements, if you did the exercise, all of these things consistently over time will get you to lose weight. So, but it's all about consistency. You cannot do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday and lose weight. Trust me. So that was a big thing. And Cheryl, I know we talked about this extensively before we got on here. And my favorite part of this whole thing. So if you got a pen and paper, taking notes, this is the part that hit me the most. And I'm gonna go here and hit the share button and make these notes duplicatable so everyone can see these notes. And did we just lose Cheryl? Anyways, the biggest line that I got from this, and this is the one I want you to write down, is that most people's lives are filled with scarred trees. Most people's lives are filled with scarred trees. What we mean by this is that so the whole power of 5 thing is getting this axe and knocking the tree down. So the goal, the result in our life is to knock the tree down. So it doesn't matter what the result is, whether it's to lose weight or make more money or have better relationships or whatever it is that you want to do, it takes consistency. So so we're using the analogy of knocking a tree down to being successful or achieving the result you want. So how do you knock the tree down? Well, you hit it with an axe 5 times a day consistently. But the little caveat there, Cheryl, is that you got to hit the same tree in the same place consistently. It's not go hit a bunch of trees, because people do that. Oh, that didn't work, so I'm going to go try this. Oh, that didn't work, so I'm going to go try this. And they jump from different businesses to different businesses or different jobs to different jobs. Maybe it's not the business that's the problem. Maybe it's not the job that's the problem. Maybe it's you. It's just maybe. Not pointing any fingers here. Not trying to be judgmental, but it could be you. Okay. So it's just people go around and they're like, well, I took a couple swings at that tree, but it didn't fall down. So I went on to another tree to see if that was a little bit easier to knock down. And how many times do people need to swing at a tree to give up? like 2, well, I took 2 swings and didn't fall down. So I'm going to move on to something else. You'll never master anything in life with that mentality. You got to pick a tree and keep swinging at the thing until it comes down. That's the whole key to life. And it's the consistency, but not just the consistency, but hitting the same tree in the same place every day, whatever that means in your life, or whatever area of life you're trying to knock the tree down in. And then Cheryl, he also went on to talk about tools.
Yeah, you do need to have the right tools. That would be the best. It's good if you are cutting a tree down to have an axe.
Baseball bat wouldn't be good?
Probably not. Probably not. You could try, but it would be much better to have an axe. So he talked about the importance of having the right tools, right? And making sure. And here's the interesting thing, Paul. I mean, when we talk about this, to become an expert, it takes 10,000 times in doing something, right? It takes 10,000 times. So once you have swung at a tree 10,000 times, then you can move on to a different tree. But but you cannot, just like Paul said, you can't move from one to the other, because what will happen, and I've seen this a lot of times, is you just get frustrated, right? You get frustrated and you get angry, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is just not working. And so if you know that to be consistent, you need to do it over and over and over and over, so you set the expectation, then I think it makes it much, much better, right? Because then hey, listen, I'm here. And again, I'm going to say it, for the long haul, right? You have to decide that this is what you want to do. This is what you're passionate about. This is what your goal is. And this is the way that you're able to bring that goal to fruition.
Absolutely. Now, John's definition of consistency is every day.
Yeah.
What does he mean by that, Cheryl?
Every day. Christmas.
Oh.
His birthday.
Oh, what about Easter?
Yes, Easter is important. Every single day he does it.
Yeah. Every day. So, and there's just so much power in that. And you're like, well, if I skip a couple of days here and there, it won't really matter. It does. When you do anything consistently, and I have this Apple Watch, I'm sure a couple of people out there are listening have an Apple Watch, but I've just become obsessed with these stupid 3 circles on there. So I have these 3 little circles on the bottom of my watch, and it counts how many stands I get a day, and how many minutes of exercise I do a day, and how many calories I burn. And you got to hit the 3 goals to close the 3 rings. And then every day you get an award that, for another day that you were consistent on it. So I'm on day 197 or something like that. So, it just, whatever happened 197 days ago, not that I wasn't exercising a lot before, but it wasn't every day. But now it became non-negotiable. I think we started talking about the word, what are the non-negotiable things in your life? And I had a couple, and made exercise one of them, because I just feel so much better when I exercise first thing in the morning. I mean, my day is like night and day when I do that. So I'm going to get up, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be consistent on it. And it's not just going to be a few times a week. It's 7 days a week I get at it. And it's changed my life. It's made me, and that goes for everything that you do 7 days a week. You'll become a master at it. You just got to put the time in. And when people hear that, like, oh, Paul, you do the same thing every day, like, that is boring. So someone said that to John, like, oh, you just read and think and write
and file.
Oh yeah, and file, yeah.
And question.
Yeah. So there's 5 things he does every day. Like, that sounds super boring. He's like, yeah, I'm 27 million books boring. He's written more leadership books than everyone else combined. And I'm sorry, and written more. He's on book 86 and sold more than everyone combined. So, So John, and again, has done over 12,000 speeches. So when you go up to him and say, man, he's really good at speaking. Like, I got to get that. I want to be that good. That's super easy to get that good. You just got to do 12,000 speeches. And you'll be that good.
I love that he said that he, like, the first 1,000, he was a little bit nervous and a little bit this and that, and I love that he said that, right? Because that's something that we can all think about and be like, hey, listen, as soon as I've done it over 1,000 times,
Yeah.
I will feel more comfortable.
Yeah. So
Right?
maybe we'll feel more comfortable after, now that we're over 1,000, Cheryl.
Maybe.
I love when they asked him, like, John, do you get nervous when you go on stage? No, not at all.
No.
So
Because he's done it 12,000 times.
yeah, I mean, and Cheryl, I know you never get nervous when you go in front of thousands of people.
Well, that's absolute truth. As long as I don't have to memorize anything, I'm all good.
As long as there's good notes up there, I'm okay.
Yeah, as long as there's bullet points. Yes.
No, I honestly love public speaking. I know that most people would rather die than public speak, but more people, the better. I mean, I literally feed off the audience and look forward to getting out there. And it's not about being nervous. It was in the beginning, but again, after you do it thousands of times, it just becomes super easy. So,
Paul, I remember the first time that I ever had to speak in public, and I did not want to do it. And it was at a seminar.
yeah.
And all I was going to have to do is just do the PowerPoint. So, the PowerPoint would come up, and I would just.
You were talking, you weren't like Vanna White with the PowerPoint. You were actually doing the talking too, right?
Listen, I was talking, and
just making sure, like, I didn't know how far back you were going. Like, you were the
No,
PowerPoint girl with the clicker girl.
It wasn't even a PowerPoint. It was what are those things what was before a PowerPoint?
I don't know. I wasn't born before that.
Yes, you were. Stop it. I know you were. But anyway, it's like I forgot what it's called, but an overhead projector.
Oh yeah. Geez. Oof.
Oh yeah.
Now you're dating us,
that's what
Cheryl.
I was doing. So you have to put the overhead sheet up, and then it shows up on okay. So that's what I was doing. And I will never forget, I was so nervous, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I did not want to do it. So I get up there and I start doing it, and someone got up and walked out, and I like stopped in the middle. I'm like, hey, where are you going? Oh my gosh. Because I was so horrified, and I just knew for sure that it was me and that it was my fault that they walked out and all of this stuff. So I just love like learning all those things, but I'll just never forget that. And now I'm like, where are you going? Stop. And that was really, that was a fun experience.
Yeah. I thought you were going to tell me you didn't put the sheet on and you just started writing on the PowerPoint machine.
Well, I've done that too, Paul. You don't need to bring things up from my past that have happened.
Oh, I know you did that. That's why I had to bring it up. Want to make sure we got that on video.
It's all a learning experience.
It's all in the past. Yeah.
Everything we do. Yes.
Absolutely. So, it's knowing, what am I going to be consistent at? What do I want to be known for? And I kind of did a speech this morning that I'll publish on our podcast also about controlled attention. What are you putting your attention on? What are you putting your focus on? And when Cheryl and I, were thinking about it, because we've actually struggled with this topic I've struggled for 25 years. She struggled with it for 25 years. When everybody asks us what we do, we don't really have an answer per se, or one that we've liked in the past. And I've used the title life coach before. So it's, I guess that's what we do. We help people improve their life. So I guess that makes us a life coach. We're obviously health coaches too, but we're more than just health coaches, because we help people not just elevate their health, but elevate all 8 areas of their life. And it's not about just elevating one area, but all the areas. And I know, Cheryl, you were passionate about making sure that the audience knew that when we mean hit the same tree every day, we're talking about what you're doing for your profession, right. And that you don't just forget about your kids or your husband or anything else, to keep those things going. You need to still pay attention to them.
Right. There's still so many other things that we're doing, but I wanted to be really clear with that, because we're not saying hit the tree and forget everything else.
Right.
We're saying we understand that they all have to fit together.
But don't forget to hit the tree today.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's end this, Cheryl, with 3 questions.
All right. Do you know what you need to do to improve?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I know a lot of people are like, they're not making the progress they want to, but they're not sure what the problem is.
I will promise you this though, Paul. If you don't know what you need to do to improve, you will never improve and you will continue to feel frustrated. So I think this is a super important question that all of us need to really start asking ourselves. Like, what part of your life, like where in your life, because remember, we have 8 different parts of our life that we're working to elevate. Which parts do you want to improve? I think that, and then how are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Right. And I think,
Yeah.
Paul, you said that, or we've talked a lot about, knowing our own strengths and knowing, what our choices are and what the important choices to make are, right, for you, for each of us. And just knowing what those are, knowing what your strengths are, knowing, just knowing the result you want too, I think fits right in there too. Because if you don't know that, how is it that you're going to improve or know what you need to improve every day to get to the result you want?
Yeah, no way. No way.
Right? Yeah.
So Cheryl and I, we have co-founded the Institute of Holistic Health. So maybe one of our certified holistic health coaches invited you to this podcast today, and we encourage you to get back with them and learn more about it if you're interested in becoming a health coach yourself, owning a health coach franchise, or being a client and elevating your health, because we do absolutely do that. But if you get into the program, so every Tuesday, we actually have weekly review Tuesday. So on Tuesdays, we go in and actually go over the celebrations. And I think, Cheryl, it's really important for people to do this in life, to ask what is going good? What can I be happy about right now? What am I grateful for right now? And to do that at least on a weekly basis, if not a daily basis, to keep those positive thoughts going. But also to ask the second question, not just the celebrations, but what's the challenges? So you got to know what the challenge is. What is preventing you from reaching or knocking that tree down today? So you got to know what's in that gap and identify it. And it's hard sometimes. And Cheryl and I actually do that for a living, is we help people find problems. It's a great thing we do, Cheryl. We point out what people's problems are when they don't know what their problem is.
Yes.
No, but it's a process of digging, so when you first come up with, oh, I need to improve this, it's probably not the thing you need to improve. You need to ask, well, why do I need to improve that? And then you'll get down and you'll dig a little bit and you'll actually come to the thing that you really, really need to improve. So that's super important. And then you need to know, how are you going to improve that thing? So we identify the problem, but what is the change that needs to be made so that you can continue to move forward? And when you understand what the change is, you got to do that daily, as we just mentioned. And last but not least, Cheryl, do you know why you want to keep improving?
Again, the most important thing. Why?
The why.
Why is because you won't do it if you don't have a strong enough why.
Yeah. So Cheryl and I teach RPM. RPM is the plan. R is the result you want to have, so where you're going. P is the purpose, why you want to go there. And then M is the map, how you're going to get there. So if you don't know the P part, the purpose, and the why you're going there, you'll never be able to stay consistent. The why is the key. And when I was 16 years old, instead of wanting a car or a bicycle or whatever 16-year-olds want these days, I wanted a program called Personal Power. It was by Tony Robbins. And with this purchase of this program called Personal Power, I got these audio tapes called Power Talk, which was an ongoing series by Tony. And there was dozens of tapes he's released. And I'm dating myself because it was an audio tape. But there was one audio tape called Kenai that I can remember. So I'm like 16, 17 years old listening to this audio tape. And it's the one audio tape that changed my whole life. Really, I believe made me who I am today. And Kenai stands for constant and never ending improvement. So he said that if you're going to master one thing in life, it's Kenai, that it's just constant and never ending improvement. And that's really how I came up with Elevate, is that I'm obsessed with continuing to make things better every single day. So that's what consistency is about. And Cheryl, do you have any closing comments you want to make on this topic of consistency?
Yes, stay consistent. It's just so important. And I understand that it seems boring, you guys. It seems boring to me, believe me. But if we can stay consistent and if you and I really believe, Paul, that if you find your passion, and I am super passionate about what I do, then it won't be that hard to stay consistent.
It'll pull
because
you.
Yeah, because yes, it will pull you and you will want to be consistent, right? You will want to be consistent. And I think that is super important. Just to consistently, and then hit the tree every day. Please hit the tree every day, the same tree every day, because it will fall.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what we want to do now with the last 15 minutes of this call or 10 minutes of this call, we want to hear from all of you. So if there's something you liked about this that you want to talk about or point out, or something that hits you, or something that you'd like to add about something you're being consistent about and have a great story, or if you're having a problem with consistency, Cheryl and I can help you overcome that. So we'll take, and that's kind of the advantage of being here live on Zoom, is we don't answer questions from YouTube or anyplace else. We only answer questions that are in the Zoom room. So you got to come into elevatezoom.com in order to be able to ask these questions. And you just simply raise your hand and we'll call on you, and love to hear from you.
Okay, Nancy has her hand up. Hi, Nancy.
Hi there, I am unmuted. This has been my life this last year, pretty much this last year, and I don't want it to sound like an excuse, but I've been facing some very scary events, and they do sort of I've faced scary things all my life. I don't mean this is the first year ever that things have gotten very difficult, but it does derail me to a certain extent with the consistency. I know I have some very solid goals, but I also have been sort of putting out fires.
Yeah.
All this year. I don't know.
Well, we go through a troubleshooting shooting session where we look at where is the issues at and what can we do to solve that issue you're having. And it always starts with story. So we always go there first and ask, so we say, change your story, change your life. So a lot of us have these stories, all of us have these stories going on in our minds that, you mentioned something about, something always comes up or something, so there's that's a habitual thing that's going on. So whenever you hear someone say the words, something always blank, what they're saying is it's a pattern now. And that pattern has caused some story. So what we need to do, Nancy, is change your story. So you need to constantly be saying, I am so happy and grateful now that blank. And that becomes your focus. That becomes what, you feel that inside, that I'm so happy and grateful now that blank, whatever it is that you want, and getting clear on that and staying focused on that. And the more you do that, the more you get good at visualization. And that's really the one skill that Cheryl and I have mastered, and I think has brought us to where we are today, because it never mattered in our careers where we were. It just mattered where we're going, because we knew we were going and we could see it and we could feel it. And we were actually grateful for getting there before we even got there. So that's the kind of point you need to get to. And so I encourage you to really sit down and think about, I'm so happy and grateful now that blank, and change that story inside of you. And then have some affirmations about things always go great for me. Things always work out, and just have some new positive thoughts that come into your mind. So hope that helped. Let's move on to Caroline.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. So I love the golf story, that of course it takes 4 days because that compounding. And I'm like, who are these new people that are playing golf now? And oh, apparently they've been playing a long time. They don't even get to play on Sundays because they haven't made it that far. So
Yeah.
I love that story. But one thing that I found that is so much easier that used to be death defying to me was doing lives. And I know a lot of people that are in, some sort of social media platform, and lives just scare them, and then they just don't even take any action.
I don't know anyone like that, Caroline. So I'm not sure.
I've heard of these people, but I'm not exactly sure that they exist.
Yeah. I don't know who yeah.
But I do know, as with everything else, that when you start something new, it can be scary, but you do it.
It will be scary. Yep.
And you do it, and you do it some more. And every time it gets a little bit easier, it flows a little better. And then it's just like you've been doing it your whole life. So
yeah,
love that great message.
Yeah. I when people say, well, I'm not really good at lives or doing Zooms or YouTube lives, whatever it is, I ask, well, how many did you do? And they're like, 4. I'm like, listen, call me back when you did 1,000. And then I'll let you know the secret to getting good. It's just consistency. And I know, Caroline, you've done a couple now in a row, and you're like, wow, I think today's was better than yesterday. And I'm like, well, of course it is, because it's going to be better every single time you do it, because you're just being more consistent about it and doing it more and more. And by live number 1,000, you'll be a megastar.
Forward to it.
Keep up the consistency. Great job. All right, let's go to our co-host, Becca.
Okay, so I am super thankful for your podcasts, but most of all, this community that you've created, because with consistency, sometimes you're going to come up against that wall or person that tries to knock you down. And the fact that we can come together as this community and continue to build each other up, it's fabulous.
Well, you make it fabulous, and you're actually the definition of consistency. I know you're day in, day out. I mean, there's no vacation days on Becca over there. She's very consistent. That's the key.
But
so you are an example of this law, and we so appreciate you and all that you do for us.
My pleasure.
We love you. Great job. All right, Sean, I know you got to go in a minute here, and we're about to wrap things up, but I want to move on to Debbie, because Debbie has a comment here.
Yeah, pretty much when you're consistent and then you can see it, it becomes a habit, it becomes part of you. And it gives you an ability, just like you were saying, to look for things that you need to work on and then start working on that and move forward. So for instance, I never used to run, and I do half marathons now. I've done 6. So my health, I keep on adding different half marathons into my other than half marathons, other healthy habits into my life, and I've grown. So I've added mindset, I've added, other healthy habits, other things I can do. And even when I get injured, I keep on running at the best ability I can do that at, because it's something that's really important to me. And I know I'll get back to the way I was before. So, if you do get knocked down, you can get back up and move forward and do what you need to do. So.
Absolutely. And then, I mean, this is probably an obvious question, but talk to us a little bit about, getting good at running. Is it something you should do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or every so often? Or is it something you were consistent at, you got so good at it?
Well, it's different for everybody. I met some people that walk and run, and I just got bored and I started running. And yeah, you should have rest days, but I put my rest days at the weekends, and I run 5 days a week. And then I add different things to it. So for me, I add different things with mindset. I make things into a game, so it's different every single time. I look for things in the environment. I kind of told Rebecca about this. And I also add either more time or something more variety. Maybe I'll put some intermittent skipping in the middle of the run and then go run again. So
Sure,
I
but
just
my
want-
point is that you don't go months without running.
No,
Yeah, you're just consistent. That's
I'm consistent.
how you got so good at it.
Hmm. And even when I get injured, it's just a matter of getting up and doing the best I can and continue.
Awesome, awesome.
I love it.
We have a couple more people that raised their hand. Great job, Debbie.
Yep. Is it Rena?
Yes, yeah. Thank you
Hello.
for taking. Hello. It's first time speaking out on the group, and
Well,
thank you.
welcome.
Yeah, but I would like to start. I'm happy and so grateful now that you guys created the coaching program. I'm thrilled with it, and adding to the discussion about going live. I've been trying to go live, but it's impossible. My mic, I can overcome that. But I love.
Well, you're
all the
live right now,
discussions.
and there's like 2.2 billion people on YouTube watching at the moment. So
Really?
yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah,
This is
you're going to see
exciting.
yourself on there. People are going to call you and be like, "Oh my God, I saw you on YouTube today." Amazing.
And you're doing great.
And you're like full of energy and beautiful
Yep.
and awesome, doing awesome. Yeah. So you look like a natural to me.
I'm trying. I'm learning. I've been in your group for quite some time, right before the pandemic. I always take the motivation, I would say the whole information that you guys provide. I love it. You know that I'm wearing the Spartan t-shirt.
Yeah.
And I love the community that you guys created, that you take whole different communities as long as we belong to longevity.
Oh,
I'm
you
thrilled.
can. We love
thank-
everybody in the world. Anybody that wants to come can come.
Thank you. And I love the video that you guys created about the health coaching. So I'm gonna see if I can take advantage of it.
Yeah. So
And
that video is at
thank you.
instituteofholistichealth.com. So it's instituteofholistichealth.com. And 2-minute videos there.
Holistic
yeah.
with a W.
We put the
Yes.
W in whole.
Thank you.
No, thank you. That was so nice of you to say all those great things about us. And we seriously think you're going to rock the live. So let us know when you're on and we'll be there cheering you on. I mean, we have probably thousands of people watching this right now. So we'll all be there for you.
Great. Thank you. Blessings.
Yeah. Blessings.
Bye-bye for now.
Bless you, Rena.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
We got time for
All
one more,
right.
Cheryl?
We do have time for one more, and that would be our good friend Barbara.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Okay, question. We are on chapter 5, correct?
Someone said it was 4. Cheryl and I are not super great at counting, so it's not our strength, but we're gonna go with 4.
Okay,
have no-
it is 4 going into 5, right?
Next week will be 5. Yeah.
It will be 5 next. Okay, I thought it was 4. Okay, basically that's it. Thank you very much for all the information.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I think these first 4 have been amazing. So we'll make sure we have all of those posted also on YouTube and on our podcast, so people can go back and watch it, and so you get all 15 in. But this is the first one that we're doing live on YouTube. So we'll get the other 3 up there as well as recordings. Anything final you want to mention, Cheryl?
No, but I thought that was so fun today, and you guys just make sure that you stay consistent.
Yes. Be like
So
Cheryl.
important. Yes.
All right. Awesome. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next Thursday at Elevate Your Leadership. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.